Good evening and welcome to another ironic introduction to another video. I have some people asking me for my masteries, and so rather than just send people screenshots explaining why I took the masteries I did across the board, I thought I'd make a quick video for them, send them the link, and maybe other people will find this useful as well. So you got to understand that I did whale my masteries a little bit. So I did buy the 99-cent unit starter package day one for the beginners, as well. At one point, I did put $50 on for units. In addition to, I think about 2,000 units I grinded from arenas all went into my masteries. So there's a lot of investment in there. So if you're just working on building these up now, even with grinding milestones from the arena, you can expect just to get to this level, it will probably take you 3 weeks to a month. And I'm even expecting for myself to get my masteries to where I want at this rate to take me another 5 or 6 weeks if I'm lucky slash I haven't actually done the math. So it might take longer depending on how expensive these are. So that being said, my first suggestion is to start with your proficiencies. First things first, you're going to want to get parry as well as dexterity. You can start with 1 point in each, as I feel like just having that initially is the value there. I don't feel that you need to put any extra points into dexterity, and I have no intention of doing so. As well as limber here, you can see I'm working on maxing this out now. Actually, early on, I maxed this out because it's very beneficial to have that stun debuff reduction, and particularly when your character's on Alliance War Defense, this will pop up a lot more. It'll make your characters harder to defeat in battle, as parrying them will be a lot less effective for your opponents. Additionally, I would actually say moving on to offense after you get your base like 3 points into proficiency, I would move straight into offense, and if possible you want to gun for this precision and this cruelty masteries as quickly as possible, because this will increase your damage rating by a lot, really just like massively, significantly. And honestly, they're not expensive to unlock in the first place. I want to say it's only one stony core for each. It might be more than that. It actually might be 5. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've unlocked them, but the amount that it costs to unlock them versus how valuable they are, I think it's very worth. If you don't get any other masteries in the game beyond those and the cheap ones, I definitely think these are the ones you need to get. The value there is just too high. But if you don't have those unlocked yet, definitely feel free to dump points into strength, dump points into greater strength. This is just free damage and very strong for your champions. I don't think that Pierce or these lesser precision and these lesser cruelties are very worth dumping points into. And if you're at the point where you've capped strength and greater strength, maybe just move on to the defensive masteries from there. I took 4 points in block proficiency. I actually did this before I moved upwards just because of the unit cost. And you do a lot of blocking in the game, especially as a newer player where you're not capable of just dexing out of all the damage possible. And having this 800 improved block proficiency really reduces the amount of damage you take just from blocking. Even if you're playing perfectly, you're getting chipped away at every time you block. And then after that, I moved my way into 3 points into recovery. This, if you have any kind of regeneration on your champions, is very strong. And it's also something I think that needs to be maxed out if you're taking suicide masteries. And finally, I took 1 point in willpower because I'm running suicides. If you're not running suicides, this is not as necessary. I think 1 point is still very valuable, because if you're ever going up against bleed, if you're running into a poison node, or anything to that effect, armor debuffs I believe proc this. This will give you health regeneration and kind of give you some sustain over longer quests, and it's very useful just in general. It is an expensive mastery, and you do have to dump a lot of points into defense, so I would set that priority very low. Finally, I kind of saved this for last because I do run suicides, and if you are interested in running suicides, but you can't afford to unlock them with units, I would say unlock glass cannon and then max it out. For a very long time I was running maxed glass cannon and none of the other suicides just because of cost. And it wasn't until I actually put money on to buy units that I did finally cough up the units for Liquid Courage. This drained me pretty heavily. It's very expensive because you have to put in that buy-in cost every time. You can see I have double edge unlocked once here, but once I unlock that, it's going to be another carbadium core in order to unlock that. Ideally, I'd like to see myself working towards this bottom tree, as despair and deep wounds here are very valuable, but those are something I think are going to be several weeks away for me, as the unit cost is very high. So kind of just a quick TLDR, make sure you grab your parry and your dexterity. Those are core to the game. If you are free to play with units, feel free to max out Limber. This is going to highly improve your fights. If you make a mistake or you get auto blocked and parried, which like Iron Man Infinity War can do, it's very frustrating. And then dump a whole bunch of points into offense, because a big part of this game is dealing more damage, as a lot of the time you're mitigating damage with parries, blocks, and dexes. And then finally, when your points in offense reach the point where they're not returning strong value, start dumping points into defense. 1 point in each of these, as they're not highly valuable. Get that recovery because it's super valuable. The block proficiency, I believe, is super valuable. As well as I'm currently pumping points into energy resistance, partially because I don't have physical resistance unlocked, but also partially, oh no, I'm sorry, unlocked it, but mostly because physical resistance you can typically parry for that damage reduction, but energy attacks you typically can't parry, so I feel like having that energy resistance is a stronger value there. So that being said, that's what my masteries look like. At any point you can feel free to just kind of take a snapshot and copy them. If you have any particular questions for where you're at, maybe you don't have several of these unlocked and you're wondering where you should dump your points, feel free to send me a screenshot of what you do have unlocked, and I'd be happy to give you some advice or things I think I would take if I was in your position. That being said, I hope you guys have a great night. I'm going to grind some arena and then maybe go live for a little bit today, try to get some Act 5 progression, see if I can't clear that Act 5 quest, Chapter 1 Quest 2 if I can, as I got pretty stunted there, and I'll talk to you later.